Hi guys, it's Mr. Shattuck and Anna. Anna wanted to say hi to you before we started our video. Say hi, Anna. Hi. Anna thinks she's a superstar and she wants to be on TV all the time. Get too close, they can't see you. There you go.
Where are they?
They're at home or at school watching this video because they're good students, right? Right. Okay, you gonna go watch your show now? Say bye to them. No? You don't want to? Okay, you want to sit there and listen to Causes of the Great Depression? Okay. Alright, so over on your left, you should see my PowerPoint on Causes of the Great Depression. As I talk through it, follow along and fill out your guided notes page. Right, Anna? Say, do your work good. Good job. Alright, so let's see. So, causes of the Great Depression. Some of this you guys experienced during our Yeehaw activity this week. Yeehaw, that's funny, isn't it? I know, they thought they were cool, going to make lots of money, and you were, because in the 1920s, business was good. Businesses are making money, and Americans thought they could make money easily by investing, just like you guys thought you were going to get all these points through the Yeehaw activity. You were winning and winning and winning, just like investors were during the stock market in the 1920s. It seems like that there was no limit to winning and losing, or winning at least, because everybody was winning and making money pretty easily. Stockbrokers are people who are buying and selling stocks. They're getting lots of money. Don't distract them, Anna. And they're making a lot of money on people investing and trading stocks for them. So one of the reasons that people are able to get into the market is because brokers let investors do something called buying on margin. So as we flip to slide 3, buying on margin is really the way that most Americans bought stocks in the 1920s. And the benefit of buying on margin was that you didn't have to have the full amount of money of your value of stocks in order to buy them. So for example, you only needed to come up with 10% of what your stocks actually cost to make that purchase. So if you wanted to buy $10,000 in stocks, the example here that I've got on the PowerPoint says that you only had to come up with $1,000. So you give your broker $1,000, they're going to give up front $9,000 to you. You're going to get to purchase $10,000 worth of stocks, and you could buy any stock that you wanted. Now, as most stocks are going up in price and value, you're going to make money every single day. So as the stocks go up, eventually you can pay off that $9,000 that you borrowed from your broker, and you're going to pay them a commission, so they're going to make some money too, right? Because they want to make money, right, Anna? And then you have the value of your stocks, and as they continue to grow and grow and grow, your portfolio goes higher and you get rich. And it's pretty easy to get rich. Are you bored with this? Yeah, Anna's bored. Why don't you go play?
No.
Okay, then you guys sit and be quiet. So if you're getting rich without having to do any work, you don't have to get up and go to a job. You don't have to leave your family. The only thing you have to do is pay attention to stock prices. And people do that by installing stock tickers in their homes, which tell them every single moment of the day what the stock prices are as things are fluctuating on Wall Street. Now, people do that today. You can go on your computer. You can watch the stock ticker. You can see the price of stocks at any
Ella
moment.
the elephant.
Yep, you want to go watch Ella the Elephant?
It's not on.
Okay, well, the kids don't care about Ella the Elephant. So you could pay attention to whatever stock value it is today, tomorrow, anytime during the day. You can do that on your computer. Channels like CNBC always have the stock ticker at the bottom of it, so that helps to be able to keep track of your stocks. And that was work for people. That was what they did. Their job was to just pay attention to stocks. So one of the downfalls with this system is that the prices of stocks is going to go up a lot higher than it probably should. Stock prices should go up because people want to invest in companies because they think the company is doing well in business. They think that the company is profitable. They want to invest and give money to the business that the business can use, for new marketing or for new products or any of those sort of things. The problem with stock speculation is that people are just really buying stocks and then wanting to turn them over and sell them as quickly as they possibly can once they make a jump. And so what people do is, they'll buy a lot of stocks. They'll get together with groups of people. They'll buy the same stock. They'll buy a ton of it jack up the price. The price of stock is going to go up because lots of people are buying it, and then those same people are going to sell their stocks before the average guy figures out that speculators have driven up the price to make a profit and then sold. And then when the stocks sell, the price of the stocks is going to go down, basic supply and demand. So that's going to be a problem with stock speculators as we get into the late 1920s. Because of this, the stock market's just not very stable. It's got lots of people playing the game, but not really playing it the right way. Individuals are going to have problems once the stock prices begin to fall. Remember, a lot of these everyday kind of people, everyday Americans, didn't have, in my example, the $10,000. They only put up $1,000. So as that stock price goes down, they've still got to pay that $10,000 back, the $9,000 that they've borrowed. And if they can't do that, what do they have to do? They've got to sell things that they own that are worth something. That could be their house, their cars. Eventually, people get so desperate that they have to sell furniture and things like that in their homes to make up that money to get out of debt. This will happen late 1929 into the early 1930s. The other problem with this is that as businesses lose money, they have to cut back on employees. So not only are the people who have lost money in the stock market struggling to pay back their debts, but many of them lose their jobs. Unemployment skyrockets in the 1930s because businesses just don't have the money. They're not making the profits to be able to have a need for that many employees. So as people lose jobs, it becomes even more difficult for them to pay back their debts. So it's kind of like it's not just one event that causes this problem, but you get the stock market crash, you've got people paying back debt, you've got unemployment. Those are factors that lead to the Great Depression. The eventual crash of the stock market happens in October 1929. On October 29th, becomes known as Black Tuesday. That's a term you'll need to know. Black Tuesday just is the name given to October 29th, 1929. Prices drop significantly. By the end of 1929, investors lose more than $30 billion. Billion. That's a lot in 1929. So it's going to cause a lot of problems as we move into the 1930s. Herbert Hoover is president, and he's going to do very little to fix the situation. He believed in a more laissez-faire, hands-off type of government intervention, and so he's not going to do a lot to fix the problem. Figures that the market will settle itself, people will figure it out, people will get jobs, they'll work hard. The other big issue has to do with banking, cause of the Great Depression and the banking situation. Remember, a lot of times brokers are having that money to give to their investors, to loan to their investors through speculation. But where do you think the brokers are getting that money? They're getting them through loans from banks. So as banks are giving out loans, there's no real regulation on how much money they can give out. A bank today couldn't do this, but banks in the 1920s were able to loan more money than they actually had sitting there in people's savings accounts. So what happens is they loan money to investors. Investors are unable to pay those back because the brokers, their investors are unable to pay those back to the brokers. Brokers can't pay back their loans, so the banks have to get the money from somewhere. So the banks are going to use the money that they have on hand, and mostly that's just people's savings accounts. And so people start to freak out. They start to worry that the bank is going to take the money that's in their individual savings accounts, and they're going to use that to pay off debts that they've paid out in loans. So the downfall to just a regular person who's got money in their savings account is fear. And so as people begin to be more fearful of this issue, they're going to go and make what becomes known as run on banks, which means that people will stand in line to get money out of their savings account. And money in savings accounts wasn't protected. It wasn't insured in the 1920s. It is today. If you put money in a savings account, the bank fails, the government backs through insurance up to $250,000 per individual. But that didn't happen in the 1930s. So if the bank used your money in your savings account to pay back the loan so that they made the bank look profitable, eventually you go to your bank to get your money out of your savings account and they say, we're out of money, we don't have any more. And as people hear that, they become fearful that their money is gone. So everybody starts going to the bank, and just imagine every customer running to the bank at the same time, standing in line saying, "Where's my money?" We'll watch a video from America: The Story of Us, which shows an example of a particular bank that has this problem and the runs in the bank and the fear that it caused. And it actually does happen. The first couple people that get to the bank are able to withdraw the money, and then eventually, as the 100 or the 200th person that gets there goes to take their money out, the bank says, "Sorry, we're out of cash. We don't have your money." And the bank just closes. And you're going to see a huge number of banks closing. Almost 85% of banks in the United States closed their doors in the 1930s or in the Great Depression. They run out of money. And there was no regulation of banks. There was no protection of banks during this time period. Between 1931 and 1932, 3,800 banks closed their doors. People lose their confidence. And if you were lucky enough to get there first, you get your money out. But for most Americans, they didn't get there quick enough, and their money was gone. Another issue causing problems, not just banks and stocks, but the fact that businesses get into some problems too. New technology creates better manufacturing in factories and in farming. So businesses are producing more than they had been. And that becomes a problem because there isn't a consumer base to buy the stuff. It becomes known as overproduction. Farmers become notorious for, they've got all these new machines and new technologies. They've got new plows and tractors and, new fertilizer and things like that. It helps them to grow more, produce more agricultural goods. But the problem is that there isn't a market for that. So we get overproduction. That's a problem because, there's more product there, but they're going bad. They're not being sold. And so businesses aren't making money. And a lot of those businesses have taken out loans because of the idea of this new option of credit. So they've gotten loans from banks in order to get money to pay for that new equipment. And then as they produce more, they think, "Oh, I got this new loan, I've got this new tractor, I'm going to produce more goods, I'm going to make more money." But as people don't buy more, they don't make more money, and they still have to pay back that debt, that loan debt. So that becomes a problem. The idea of debt, personal debt, becomes a big issue. 1920s is the time of extravagance. People are spending a lot of money, but they don't necessarily have it. The opportunity to buy things on credit, whether it's a car, whether it's houses, whether it's even household appliances. People just think, people want this new idea of refrigerators in their homes, but they can't afford it. think about how when new products come out, how expensive they are. But stores giving customers the opportunity to buy it on credit, make a monthly payment, and 3 years from now you'll pay off your refrigerator. And that seems good at the time when times are good, but as we get to the end of the 1920s, we get people who are losing their jobs and are unable to pay that back. So you can see the number of personal debt rises from 3.1 billion to 6.9 billion from 1921 to 1929. People just are in debt. Underconsumption leads to a problem with, like I was saying earlier, with farmers. Farmers can't store products because they go bad. It's not like you can harvest all of your vegetables and have them just sort of sit in a factory until people are ready to buy. The problem is that as demand goes down, prices are going to go down as well. They're going to make less money. They can't repay those loans. So all these problems, whether it's the stock market crash, you've got underconsumption, you've got overproduction, you've got problems with the banking industry and the runs on banks. All these sort of come into play, all at the same time, that lead to a severe economic downturn, which causes significant problems for the American public. And the federal government really doesn't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to help people if they should help people. Nobody's ever helped people before. Our presidents in the 1920s are all Republicans who believe in government staying out of the way of business. So that becomes a big issue in the American society as we get into the Great Depression. Make sure you get those guided note sheets filled out, and we will continue this later on. Thanks.